If you've ever looked for advice on discipline online, you've probably noticed that many tips seem to be written by people who have never actually struggled with it. The recommendations tend to be extreme, either excessively gentle, like be kind to yourself and take small steps, or overly harsh, suggesting drastic punishments, such as doing 500 burpees in a snowstorm if you miss a workout. The problem is that neither of these approaches guarantees long-term consistency. The truth is that being undisciplined is easy. Our brain is wired to seek immediate comfort, and that's not your fault. When faced with two options, it will always choose the simplest and least exhausting one. Unless something forces it to act differently. You might promise yourself that you'll go to the gym at 6 a.m., but if skipping it only means staying cozy in bed with no real consequences, what's the obvious choice? Exactly. So instead of trying to force yourself to be more disciplined, the best solution isn't about increasing your motivation or mental strength. The secret is to make a lack of discipline so uncomfortable and inconvenient that simply following through with your commitments becomes the less painful option. This is what many people fail to realize. Everyone has struggled with their own willpower, but the truth is that willpower is inconsistent and unreliable. What really works is fortifying your environment against laziness, making indiscipline the worst possible choice. Think about it. Many of the things you consistently do aren't a result of some innate discipline, but simply because the alternative would be much worse. You go to work because getting fired would be a problem. You attend classes because failing would be a disaster. You pay rent because being homeless is not an option. See the logic? You already have discipline. You just need to create the right conditions to activate it. Let's say you want to wake up early, but every morning you hit the snooze button like your life depends on it. The traditional advice would be to find a strong reason to get up, but that's not the real problem. The issue is that in practice, staying in bed still feels like the better option. So change the scenario. Place your alarm clock on the other side of the room, next to a glass of water. That way, when it rings, you'll be forced to get up to turn it off. Since you're already standing, drink the water. Your body starts waking up, and at that point, going back to bed becomes more inconvenient than moving forward with your day. And just like that, you've won the first battle against laziness. Now, imagine you get easily distracted while working. You promise to stay focused, but suddenly you find yourself watching a 20-minute video analyzing why the Cars movie universe is a capitalist dystopia. The solution? Simple. Make distractions physically annoying. A practical example is using website blockers with scheduled timers. This way, your commitment isn't solely your responsibility. Another person or tool also reinforces your discipline. Social pressure can be an excellent ally in maintaining focus. However, if you know you'll end up disabling the blockers, take a manual approach. Leave your phone turned off in another room or shut your laptop and store it away. Most of the time, the hassle of having to turn them back on and log in will be enough to discourage you from procrastinating. But physical discomfort is only part of the process. Financial impact can be even more powerful. Psychology teaches us that people fear losing money more than they strive to earn it, a principle known as loss aversion. If you want to maintain a workout routine but constantly postpone your sessions, set up a financial penalty. Make a deal with a friend. For every missed workout, you'll send them a set amount of money, say $10. Now, skipping a session isn't just an "I'll go tomorrow," but a real financial loss. If that's not enough, raise the stakes to $50. Better yet, use platforms that donate your money to causes you dislike if you fail to meet your goal. The key is to make consequences immediate. The biggest challenge with discipline is that the impact of our decisions often feels distant. Skipping a workout today may not seem like a big deal, but losing money right now makes the choice far more significant. Additionally, we are social beings and care about others' opinions, even if we try to deny it. Use that to your advantage. If you have an important project but keep procrastinating, share your goal with someone you respect and commit to giving them an update by a specific date. Now, delaying your work doesn't just mean disappointing yourself, it also means facing the embarrassment of not keeping your word. If you're trying to break a bad habit, inform your family or friends, not as a form of self-promotion, but in a way that makes backtracking feel absurd. Accountability groups work precisely for this reason. No one wants to be the only one who fails. Researchers have discovered that simply having someone observe you improves your performance on a task. This phenomenon, known as body doubling, suggests that working in the presence of another person, even if they're doing nothing, increases your concentration. If you don't have in-person company, try online co-working sessions. Your brain will interpret the virtual presence as an incentive to stay engaged. Finally, even small changes in your environment can make a difference. Studies show that setting your phone wallpaper to an image related to your goal significantly increases your chances of achieving it. This happens because every time you unlock your phone, you receive a subtle reminder, preventing you from giving up easily. In the end, discipline isn't just willpower. It's about creating a system where failing is more uncomfortable than taking action. The secret lies in making discipline feel natural. When avoiding a task becomes more inconvenient than doing it, resistance disappears. It's not about constantly forcing yourself, but structuring your routine so that the easiest choice is also the most beneficial. And that's exactly why I use Brilliant, our sponsor once again. What I love about Brilliant is how it drives daily learning, offering thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, data analysis, and artificial intelligence. It's like having a personal tutor always at your fingertips, turning idle moments into practical and engaging learning experiences. Brilliant's genius lies in transforming studying into a powerful habit, almost like a game. Instead of passively consuming information, you solve problems, keep your brain active, and develop a real understanding of concepts. In my case, I finally made progress in learning programming instead of endlessly postponing it. Unlike courses that simply throw syntax rules at you and call it teaching, Brilliant helps you think like a programmer, breaking down problems, designing logic, and truly understanding how code works, rather than just copying and pasting. But it doesn't stop there. The courses cover various fields such as mathematics, science, artificial intelligence, and data analysis, always with an intuitive and effective approach. If you want to swap endless social media scrolling for real growth, try Brilliant. Get a free 30-day trial, and if you decide to continue, enjoy a 20% discount on the annual premium subscription. Just visit brilliant.org, some unfiltered guy, or scan the QR code on the screen. Trust me, it's one of the easiest ways to transform your habits for the better. Behavioral psychology suggests that people don't change habits just through inspiration, but through consequences. In Atomic Habits, this is called the inversion of the second law of behavior change. For a habit to stick, avoiding the alternative must be more painful than following through with it. Studies show that immediate consequences shape behavior more effectively than future rewards. In other words, the need to avoid pain is a stronger motivator than the promise of long-term benefits. An interesting concept in this field is temptation bundling, which links a reward or direct consequence to a habit. For example, bodybuilders who only allow themselves to watch their favorite anime after training tend to stay consistent. The same principle can be applied to make your goals the path of least resistance, and consequently, the most natural one to follow. That said, some people overestimate their willpower and set punishments that are too harsh. If losing $10 for skipping a workout is a good incentive, great. But if it's $100 and you still miss it, now you're just discouraged and broke. The ideal approach is to start with a level of discomfort that is unpleasant but manageable. Another challenge is loopholes. Your brain will always try to find them. If you place your alarm clock on the other side of the room but then start sleeping with a second pillow to muffle the sound, you've just sabotaged your own system. The key is to stay one step ahead of yourself. If you find a way to cheat your own strategy, adjust it so that it doesn't happen. Some might think this level of discipline sounds like punishment or excessive pressure. But so what? Extremes are what produce results. Extremes are what make you take action when you would otherwise stay idle. If your discipline strategy isn't strong enough to override your natural tendency toward laziness, it won't have any effect. And yes, there will be moments when you simply refuse to follow your own plan. You'll see the consequences approaching and still say, screw it. It happens, but the goal was never perfection. Never. What matters is making the right choice the easiest one and the wrong choice the hardest. If 8 times out of 10 you manage to stay on track because straying off has become too inconvenient, that's already a huge victory.